What if a single, fleeting backstage moment was enough to set the entire internet buzzing? No official announcement, no press release, just quiet footage and one familiar silhouette that viewers couldn't ignore. Tonight, StarWatch Now takes you inside the story behind the scenes and why this moment matters more than it seems. What ignited public attention was not a grand reveal, but something far more restrained. A brief, almost incidental glimpse from behind the scenes of the CCTV New Year's Eve Gala quietly surfaced, and yet it carried remarkable weight. The footage did not shout for attention, it invited it. In an era dominated by loud announcements and carefully staged revelations, this subtle moment stood out precisely because of its understatement. Viewers were drawn in not by certainty but by recognition. A familiar presence suggested rather than declared. The absence of confirmation created a shared pause, encouraging audiences to observe, reflect, and discuss without rushing to conclusions. This collective curiosity felt organic, almost nostalgic, reminiscent of a time when anticipation grew naturally rather than being manufactured. What made the moment resonate nationwide was its timing. As the year draws to a close, people are instinctively reflective, more sensitive to symbols of transition and renewal. Against that emotional backdrop, even a fleeting backstage moment can feel significant. It becomes less about what is seen and more about what it represents. The possibility of return, the quiet gathering of momentum, and the sense that something meaningful may be approaching, calmly, deliberately, and on its own terms. The CCTV New Year's Eve Gala occupies a unique place in the cultural landscape. It is not merely a televised event, but a shared national ritual that marks closure, continuity, and collective hope. Appearing on this stage signals more than popularity. It reflects trust, alignment with public sentiment, and a recognition earned over time. Unlike commercial platforms driven by constant novelty, this stage values stability and resonance. Artists who appear here are often those whose presence feels reassuring, familiar yet evolving. The significance lies not in spectacle alone, but in symbolic positioning. A gala performance suggests that an artist's journey has reached a point of quiet affirmation where their work speaks clearly enough without excessive explanation. For viewers, this stage evokes emotion because it is woven into personal memories, families gathered, conversations paused, moments shared. When a familiar figure appears in this context, it creates an immediate emotional bridge between personal experience and public culture. That is why speculation surrounding the gala carries weight. It is not about chasing attention, but about recognizing the deeper meaning of timing, placement, and cultural resonance. In this space, presence itself becomes a statement, calm, considered, and quietly powerful. The past year has unfolded at a noticeably different pace. Instead of constant visibility or rapid output, the focus shifted towards introspection and experience. This slower rhythm has allowed space for exploration beyond conventional performance, embracing movement, environment, and thought in ways that feel grounded and intentional. Such a choice challenges the prevailing expectation that momentum must always be visible. Stepping back in this context is not absence, but preparation. It reflects a growing awareness that creative energy, like any resource, requires renewal. By allowing distance from familiar routines, clarity often emerges about purpose, direction, and long-term vision. Audiences have responded to this approach with increasing empathy. Many recognize their own struggles with exhaustion and the pressure to remain constantly productive. Seeing a public figure choose reflection over acceleration validates the idea that growth does not always move in straight lines. This year, defined more by inward movement than outward display, suggests maturity rather than retreat. It hints at a recalibration, one that prioritizes sustainability and meaning. In doing so, it reframes success not as constant output, but as the ability to return with renewed intention and depth. What gives the behind-the-scenes footage its emotional power is not what it explicitly shows, but what it leaves unsaid. The camera captures fragments, preparation, movement, atmosphere, but offers no narrative closure. This openness invites interpretation, encouraging viewers to engage actively rather than consume passively. Such moments ask the audience to read between the frames. Is this a quiet prelude to something larger or simply a moment of transition? The ambiguity allows space for personal reflection, where viewers project their own hopes, experiences, and expectations onto the scene. This kind of storytelling feels increasingly rare. It resists instant conclusions and instead fosters patience. In doing so, it respects the intelligence and emotional sensitivity of the audience. Rather than dictating meaning, it offers context and trusts viewers to find significance for themselves. By withholding certainty, the narrative becomes more human. Life rarely unfolds with clear announcements. It evolves through subtle shifts and unspoken decisions. These frames capture that reality, reminding us that important changes often begin quietly, long before they are fully visible. At its core, this story transcends entertainment news. It speaks to a broader emotional truth about timing, restraint, and self-awareness. In a culture that frequently celebrates speed and constant exposure, choosing stillness becomes a powerful alternative. The unfolding narrative suggests that value is not measured solely by presence, but by intention. Whether or not appearances are formally confirmed, the conversation itself highlights a collective yearning for authenticity and depth. Audiences are increasingly drawn to stories that reflect inner growth rather than surface-level achievement. This message resonates because it mirrors real life. Many people stand at moments of transition, uncertain yet hopeful, learning to trust their own pace. Seeing that process reflected in public figures offers quiet reassurance. It is acceptable to pause, to reconsider, and to wait for the right moment. Ultimately, the story invites viewers to look beyond headlines and appreciate the quieter dimensions of progress. It reminds us that some journeys are not meant to be rushed, and that meaning often reveals itself not in grand declarations, but in thoughtful, deliberate steps forward. As the new year approaches, stories like this remind us that not every important step needs to be announced loudly. Some are felt before they are seen. And sometimes the most powerful performances begin long before the stage lights turn on. Thank you for watching StarWatch Now. If you enjoy thoughtful stories, calm analysis, and meaningful moments from the world of Asian entertainment, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Stay with us for more behind-the-scenes insights, and let's continue watching the stars wisely, warmly, and together.